Hi y'all! Today I am coming at you with a video about setting goals. So I had a baby about a year ago. He's about a year old now. And for most of that year, I felt like I just needed to do the next step, the next thing. I was feeling a little overwhelmed, and I still do at times, but I think I've come to a place, and I think you should consider that perhaps you might have come to a place where setting goals and making a short-term plan for your life can be really, really helpful. And I think that sometimes when you're overwhelmed, actually having a short-term plan, taking a little time to set aside, maybe getting a babysitter, or taking an hour or two out of your day, even if you're really tired from your job, taking a little time aside and making a plan can be really, really helpful in keeping you from becoming overwhelmed to the point that you don't progress in ways that you want or need to progress. So what I have done in the past and what I've started doing again is having a notebook. And there was a girl on YouTube, and I haven't seen any videos from her in several years, but I think her YouTube handle was Lean Secrets, and she did a video on setting goals with a notebook. So I totally stole this idea from her. I'm not trying to take credit from her at all, but what she did, she had a much nicer binder than me, but I have an old binder here. And what I did was I have 3 tabs. She had more than that, but I found 3 worked for me. And one was to set some goals. So I have a goals tab, a today tab, and then I have a Jesus tab. Or, if you're not a Christian, or if you don't believe in Jesus, maybe you might believe in, it's basically the idea is to be thankful. So you could call it thankfulness tab or something like that. But the idea is that on this first page, you set goals, and I have about 10 here, 10 goals that I would like to accomplish over the next year or 2. I'm a little flexible about when I accomplish them because as I'm trying to grow my own business as a mom and as a wife, I have priorities that are bigger than some of these goals that I have. And I don't want these goals to get in the way of those bigger priorities that are actually more important to me. But I don't think that just because I have things like my child and training him and growing him to the best person that I can, I don't want those to get in the way of growing in other areas, because I think it can often come off as an excuse for myself. I can be thinking, well, I'm busy with my son. I don't have time to improve myself. And some days that is 100% true. But then other days that's not true, and I'm just not taking the time. I'm not making the time. I'm not making it a priority. And I think that I want to grow as a person as much as I can. And I don't think that having a child should keep me from doing that. I think in a lot of ways it can help me grow. So I think changing your perspective in seeing obstacles perhaps as maybe a catalyst for growth can be really, really helpful. And also it can help you not resent those things that you might think would be holding you back, but they're really pushing you forward. So like having a child, you might think, well, this is holding me back. I can't do things that I want. And that might be true for some areas of your life. But in other ways, your child is helping you grow. Maybe in your gentleness, maybe in your patience. Maybe it's helping you learn things you never would have thought to learn because you didn't have to learn. But now that you have a child, you need to learn them. So you're growing different parts of your brain and your mind and your personality. It could be the same thing with a job. Maybe it's a really, really difficult job that you have. But that stress, learning to deal with stress like that, can actually be really, really good for you and can strengthen you as a person. If you allow it to beat you down, and sometimes you don't have the choice, that's just what happens, it'll grind you down, then maybe that's a situation you need to get out of. But first try to think, is this difficulty, is this obstacle actually an opportunity for me to grow? Because it just might be. So in setting goals, you can think about those difficulties, and you can think, is this difficulty something that I can set a goal in to grow in, or is it something that I need to set a goal in to get out of? So that might be something that you could think about when you're setting up your goals. So your goals should be something big, relatively specific. You don't want it to be too broad. Let's see, for instance, some of these are a little personal. I don't really want to share all of them with you. No offense. But, for instance, I used to teach martial arts, and in the past 6 months I really haven't done any martial arts at all because it just wasn't fitting in with my schedule going to a class and coming back, because where I was taking was about 40 minutes from where I live, so there's a lot of time to take out, but I have a heavy bag, I can still work on that myself. So I'm wanting to maintain my skills in those areas, and I'm also wanting to improve my grappling skills. So it's a pretty specific goal that I have, but it's also broad enough where it's improve. It's not that I want to be, you know, a 3rd degree black belt by the end of the year. Like, that's not my goal. It's not super specific, but it's specific enough where I know what I'm wanting to do. Another thing that I really want to do is I want to help my son to grow. And I want him to know through my actions that he's a priority. Because, and why I say actions is because as a baby, he doesn't understand words as much as another person who is older would. So I need to be thinking about how are my actions letting him know I love him. Like, eye contact is really important. You know, like when he comes and pulls on my pants, to, you know, make sure that I look at him and make sure he knows that he's a priority to me through my actions, through taking time out of my day to really have that one-on-one play time with him. Those are really important things, and when I'm too goal-oriented on other things, I will skip on that goal that I have. So to me, this is helping me be a better parent by making sure I'm setting relatively specific goals and helping in my parenting. So I hope this is coming across to you, helping you understand what I'm saying when I'm saying setting goals. You don't want them to be too broad. It's not that I want to love my son. Like, that's really broad, and I feel like it's a little too broad. And so I had to think about actions specifically, as that's a thing I really need to work on. Because I feel like my words are very loving to him, but my actions need to be more loving. So after you set your goals, then you're going to go to the today page. And this right here is going to be where you write down the things that you're doing today to work towards those goals. So for Joey specifically, I need to work on his bedtime schedule. And I think this is an opportunity for me to show him through my actions that I love him, and also he's been having trouble sleeping. So working on a bedtime schedule is something that I've read, helps him with his sleep, and it's gonna help him grow as a person and also feel more loved. I had written down that I was going to practice my martial arts today. So I'm going to go up, and for 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long I can get, I'm going to go and I'm going to practice on my heavy bag, and I'm going to work on that. I have about 10 things that I've written down that I'm going to try to get done today to reach toward those goals, and some of them are very, very small. But that's okay. Like, one of them is literally, I'm going to go and comment on 2 people's Instagram pictures. And these are like people that I'm thinking might need a little bit of help, because I think reaching out and helping people, it doesn't just grow my platform, but it also helps me see what people are really going through and what kind of things they really need in a program. So I might not be helping the person I'm commenting on their Instagram, but looking and commenting and thinking about helping them helps me grow and helps me think. So they're helping me just by being online, and if I go and actively look for those people, it helps me, and I can hopefully help them and maybe even create a relationship. So, but that's something very small. Commenting twice is, you know, it's going to take me, what, 10 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, to find somebody and comment on their page. So it can be really, really small. But then after, if I get, let's say I do 5 of, I have like 10 things written down here. Let's say I do 5 of them. Right here it says to do right here, and over here it says successes. So I'm going to write down if I manage to comment on 2 people's Instagram posts today, then I'm going to put a little check mark by that. And then I'm also going to write other successes. Maybe I didn't I didn't actually write down that I was going to work out today, but that's something I've done today. So I can work out, I can write down, I worked out. I also have done a little bit of working on Joey's bedtime, thinking about his, what he needs to be doing, what I need to be doing to help him get some sleep. And then hopefully tonight, if I work on his bedtime a little bit better, then I can check that off and I can write down maybe some of the things that I did. And this will also help me keep track of what works and what doesn't. Even though it's in the success box, it might help me see mistakes that I'm making because I'm writing things down. And then after that tab, so that was the today tab, I have my Jesus tab, or you could have a thankfulness tab or whatever that is. And right here I have thankfulness and requests written down. So being thankful is really, really helpful in helping with having a better mood and in fighting depression. Depression is something that I have struggled with on and off most of my life since I was in my teenage years. And I think this is a relatively common thing. It's not been severe depression by any means, but I think a lot of people struggle with it. And being thankful is really, really important to seeing the bright spots in your life, because often what depression does, at least for me, is it helps me only see the dark and the negative. And by forcing yourself to, what I would do is I'd write down 3 things I'm thankful for each day. It helps me see the bright spots and the wonderful parts of my life that exist instead of only the dark parts. And also I think it just helps me overall, more than just fighting depression, but it just helps me be thankful for those good things I have, because they're not always going to be there. And I think it's really important to practice thankfulness, especially as a Christian. In the Bible, we're commanded to be thankful. So if you're a Christian, that's something to think about. It's God tells us to be thankful. That's like part of our job, you know? And then also with requests, this would be more like a prayer for me. If you're not a Christian, maybe it's just something more that you're hoping that will happen. And sometimes just by saying what will happen or what you want to happen, it can help you manifest it more, because you're really thinking about it. And if you've put that out there, if you've written it down, it's more likely to happen because you've made it into more of a real thing just by writing it down. It's already become a little more real than if it was just a thought in your head. So I would suggest, just like the lady on YouTube whose handle is Lean Secrets, when she was telling me about this, she said it's really important to not use an app on your phone, but actually write things down. Like I was saying before with the requests or prayers, it makes it a little more real and a little more tangible in your life when you write things down, as opposed to when you put it in an app. And I find this to be true when I'm studying something, when I'm trying to learn something. If I write it down, it makes it more tangible than if I type it into a computer. And I'm not sure if this is just all psychological or what it is, but I would suggest giving it a try. At one point in my life, I was really struggling with depression a lot. This really, really helped me because it helped me be thankful, it helped me accomplish things, and it helped me see what I was actually thinking was important in my life, as opposed to just wallowing in the dark parts of my life that were real and that were there, but instead it helped me climb out of that hole instead of just staying there. So I would suggest you try this if depression is something you struggle with, or if just meeting goals is something that you struggle with and that you need to find maybe a new way to meet goals, or maybe just a more organized way. I would totally suggest trying something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly what I've done. I didn't do exactly what the Lean Secrets lady did. Do what works for you. Maybe an app would work better for you. But writing down your goals and writing out what you're going to do that day to reach those goals is super, super powerful. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope that this information helps you a little bit. I am CoFit Coaching on Instagram. You can also email me, and I hope that you subscribe and like this video and give me a comment. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear maybe if you'll have some more ideas, more tabs I could put in this notebook, or if you've ever done something like this and if it's helped you. Have a great day.